Welcome to Ebiz Consulting and Training. Visit ebiz.com. Enjoy the VJ Export Import Masterclass series.
Hello friends, welcome to my channel, which is the official channel of my company, Ebiz Consulting and Training. This particular video lecture is focused on the topic how to strategically close overseas buyers and make export profits. It's basically a real case study based on my company client, the uh, the experience of my client that I'm going to share in this particular YouTube video. So the background of this particular topic, which I have taken for this particular lecture, is that today one of my clients closed their 100th overseas buyer, marking exactly 4 years since inception and my engagement with this particular client. So, friends, what happens? I get messages every single day asking, Dr. Jain, how do we find genuine foreign buyers who actually convert? So, instead of typing the same advice over and over again, I'm breaking down the exact blueprint in this particular masterclass. Uh, so, this is my idea. This is the origin of this particular video. So basically, let me first share with you what I'm going to cover in this particular lecture. My main theme that I have covered in this particular masterclass include the first is the three dangerous mistakes new exporters make when targeting overseas buyers. Second very important thing that I'm going to cover in this particular masterclass is the exact acquisition breakdown, where these 100 closed deals that I just referred to actually come from, and why traditional methods fail in current times. This is the most important part of this particular masterclass. Then the third thing that I'm going to cover in this particular masterclass is the four-step technical workflow from HS code and customs trade data to decision maker discovery and how to convert them, those decision makers. And the last thing that I'm going to cover in this particular masterclass is about email deliverability and domain protection. Your domain that has to be protected through email marketing. When you're sending the emails, how do you protect your domain? That is very, very important. How to scale high converting warm pitch outreach without getting blacklisted or getting your email in spam folder. So these are the four things that I'm going to cover with this particular masterclass. If you are a student of international business, or if you are an entrepreneur planning to scale global exports, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon of this particular channel, this particular video. I will be building a structured series of practical trade masterclasses of this type right here on this channel. So it will be very, very useful to you. In the past, I have uh, posted many, many videos. You can see those videos, but this is a new series that I'm starting. So before I start, I want to give you a brief background about myself that will be interesting to you. That for especially for those who are joining this channel for the first time, I basically started my career as an export professional in a major chemical enterprise in New Delhi after completing my B in chemical engineering from BITS Pilani and my master's in international business from IFT New Delhi. So for many, many years, I worked at very senior positions in export companies. Over the decades, I transitioned into international trade, academia, training, and consultancy. serving as dean, professor, and director at reputed B schools in India, training senior corporate executives. And for the last 6 years, I am running my consultancy firm and training firm, which is EBZ Consulting and Training, advising medium to large export import enterprises on compliance and global operations. So, this particular practical knowledge you will find very useful for this masterclass. Before I start, I want to just give you a disclaimer kind of thing that this particular video is purely an educational lecture. I am currently not taking on any individual agency projects, or I am not promoting any particular platform. That I am not doing. So please, you do not send any direct message to me regarding this topic, especially because I am already explaining this topic, because I actually get many requests on this topic, and it becomes very difficult for me to reply each and every person on the same topic. That is the purpose I have started this series of master classes. So if you have a conceptual question, leave them in the comment section of this particular video. This comment section is very important. This I can little bit help you in comment section. In very short, I can reply to you. So basically, soon in this particular series, I will be also giving you a paid membership tier also, where you will get extra value. So you can give your company name and reference and what is your query, which is very specific beyond this topic. You can give it in the description, but try to avoid on this topic, because I will try to give my best explanation on this topic, and this should give you a completely comprehensive idea. To start this masterclass, I want to tell you that there have been three major shifts in modern export dynamic. When we are working on buyer acquisition in today's digital trade ecosystem, here are three mistakes I want to share with you that exporters make the most. So these are three mistakes that gives you an idea of the shift that has happened. So these mistakes come from these three shifts in the modern export dynamics. So the first mistake exporters make is assuming that the buyer discovery, which means acquisition of the foreign overseas buyer, is the hard part in today's time. Let me tell you, finding a list of buyers is quite easy. You can pull 200 registered importers from your HS code in less than 5 minutes using customs shipment databases, which are easily available. Some are free, some are paid. Okay. So I will in this course give you examples of free resources. I will try to avoid paid resources, but I will just mention about them also. You can do, you can use them also. So the real challenge is basically conversion. That is the hard part. So out of these 200 leads, only 5 to 10 will reply in a normal way, in a cold outreach kind of thing. And perhaps one or two will close the deal over several months of communication, discussion, and you will lose interest slowly. So giving up after a single email is where 90% of the exporters fail, basically. Right? So this is very important. You have to have the right approach, which I will be explaining in this masterclass. So the second mistake which exporters usually make refers to chasing tier one mega importers too early. So large importers, so-called conglomerates, have very rigid procurement cycles. They have established vendor panels, and they have many compliance hurdles. So they are very rigid on those things. So they don't switch over very fast to new vendors. They will not entertain a new supplier without verifiable global shipment records, which means your past performance, your examples, proven record has to be there. So, to start with, target small to medium enterprises, importers, where the founders, directors, or purchase head are easily accessible, they are reachable, they are the decision makers, and they can evaluate your proposal directly and take direct decisions about your offer. That is the right strategy. So, this is the shift I'm talking about. Now, the third shift or third mistake which exporters nowadays make is ignoring your own digital credit score. That means shipment history. That is your credentials. So, just as you use global trade intelligence platforms to verify if an importer is genuine, sophisticated buyers run your company through customs data platforms. They will check your company, they will do due diligence on platforms like Penjiva or Import Genius or Bolza or free platforms like Import Yeti to inspect your export track records. So, therefore, you should treat your verifiable shipment history like your credentials, like your resume, like your credit score. Build your foundations with nimble, mid sized buyers that are easily accessible, right? So, that research is required. So, these are the three shifts that leads to these three mistakes, common mistakes by the exporters in present times. So now I'll come back to my case study of my client who closed 100 buyers in 4 years. So these 100 buyers, they were actually B2B buyers. So obviously the profit margins and the volumes were quite high. So here I am just sharing with you the exact conversion channel distribution from this 4-year client of mine, its portfolio. So I will just show you this conversion channel distribution starting with the so-called cold outreach, cold emailing. So cold emailing actually is not good. Uh, I told you in the very beginning, uh, you know how many reply you get. So I call this cold outreach as value added warm pitch outreach. So it's a value added warm outreach actually, email marketing. Basically, it is targeted B2B pitching. That's very important. So I have recently developed a full-fledged course on this value-added warm pitch outreach. On Gumroad, it is available. In the description, you will find the link to this course. It's a premium course. So here I have given you very detailed way of approaching buyers, how uh, uh, to find macro data as well as micro data and how to create right pitch. I've also given templates also in this particular masterclass. In the comment section, you will see the templates which I have given examples. So how this value added warm pitch works. So what is this warm outreach? Not the cold outreach. So in this particular case study, I'm telling you this conversion channel distribution and this value added warm outreach brought out of this 100, 70 clients were acquired by my client through this validated warm outreach. The second channel to get buyers is referrals and word of mouth from existing buyers. So out of these 100 buyers, 20 buyers came through this route of my client. Then third channel, that is the direct in-person meetings and travel. Now, travel include your trade fairs, all those things. You'll be surprised. Only 5 out of these 100 buyers came from that, and that's a very costly proposition. Now, there is another channel where some buyers came, that is niche communities and online trade forums. On Facebook, you have many trade forums, and you can also use Reddit to get some buyers in some of the groups, or B2B network, which I told you. In Facebook, there are many, and on LinkedIn also there are many. So out of these 100, only 5 buyers were acquired through this route by my client. And if we talk of specifically international trade fairs participation or buyer seller meet, which are advertised in a very big way by industry bodies, so-called BSMs, not a single buyer came out of these 100, unfortunately. So this is my experience. I'm not saying that people don't get buyers from trade fairs or buyer seller meets, but this is exactly is the case. Then last, that is the passive inbound inquiries coming from nowhere. So there were absolutely no acquisition. No, nothing came out of that. So the moral of the story is that trade exhibitions have very high upfront travel, booth cost, and lodging costs, with demanding physical logistics of samples and displays. So precision digital outreach sitting at your desk actually delivers equal or even superior return on investment, as you can see from this distribution, when executed systematically. So I have given this distribution of this conversion channel distribution I'm talking about. In the description, you can see this exact conversion which I could see from my this client. So this is a kind of case study I wanted to share on the conversion channel distribution of this 100 buyers that were closed just today by my client. Now I will tell you about the technical outreach workflow, right? So outreach, because 70 customers are coming from outreach in this case study. So it is very important to understand that what is the workflow, step by step workflow. So basically there are 4 stages. The first is the identification of HS code and trade data, getting trade data from platforms like Penjiva or Bolza. They are paid platforms, or from import Yeti, the manifest data, so called. You can get macro filtering, you can do in this. And then you can also use ITC trade map. So in one of my recent video lecture, masterclass, I have shared with you a 30-minute case study on how to use ITC trade map. So you can see that particular case study. You subscribe to my channel, you will get this case study and you will know how to use ITC trade map. And you can also use AI tools like cloud AI. So basically in cloud AI, you add connectors. So when you give a query to AI, cloud AI, that give me the list of the buyers, so it will provide you based on the connectors that you have added. Now these connectors can be free also, these connectors can be paid also. Apollo AI is a paid connector. But then there is a free mini Apollo AI type of connector also, which is free. So in my very future new video which I will be sharing with you, I will explain to you how you can use free connectors and paid connectors to cloud AI and get the buyers, macro as well as make micro filtering. So that I will explain to you in my that video. But I'm just explaining to you that you use these trade data, which can be the general data, it can be manifest data, it can be AI data. So these are 3 kind of data which are available online. So some are free and some are paid. But this is the first step. The second step is the contact enrichment. human intervention. So human enrichment. Basically, what is the meaning of this? That you have to do some research on those content through LinkedIn, through different platforms, and you can use again you can use tools like Apollo AI or its mini version, which is free, where you can find the intent analysis, intent index, that what are the pain points of that company, right? So big company compliance pain points are there, or dependency on one or two suppliers are there, or if it is mid-sized companies, there would be other kinds of pain points. So you have to identify those pain points, and those pain points only can give you the correct enrichment to your outreach, right? So this is human intervention, human enrichment. That is the second step. The third step is to prepare personalized pitch with your experience, with your knowledge. So how do you prepare personalized pitch? I have given some examples in the comment section. You can see I've given you some templates of the personalized outreach pitch templates, email templates. So email marketing, you have to learn, very important, because in email marketing you can land up in problems. It can become cold outreach, which doesn't give you the result as I have explained in the very start of this masterclass, right? So you end up getting your domain name blacklisted, and you lose your domain, but reputation and protection is not there. So that has to be avoided, right? That's why you need this personalized pitch, which will be uh, welcome, right? So I was talking about this course, getting your first order, which is on Gumroad. I have this particular premium course is there, full-fledged course is there. So there I have explained all these things in very detail. So you can enroll or you can explore this course. The link is there in the description of this particular video. Now let me talk about the fourth step of this technical outreach workflow, which is tracking and deliverability. Email deliverability. You have to watch it. Very, very important, right? So these are the four steps of this technical outreach workflow, which I wanted to share with you. So if we talk of the step one, that is the trade intelligence and HS code mapping, I would say the first step. So here you have to audit your product specifications and identify the exact 6-digit to 8-digit HS codes. This is the starting point of this outreach. Use trade data platforms to analyze past shipment frequencies, unit prices also, port of entry, and existing supplier origins. It can be in your country also, it can be in your competitor's country also, right? So in my recent masterclass on the ITC trade map, which I have shared as a case study, I've talked about export of cocoa, fine aroma quality, single origin cocoa from Ecuador. So Ecuador has competition from West African countries, right? So that data they found, and that can be used. So this data allows you to craft a relevant commercial offer rather than generic spam. So you are going away from cold outreach to warm, value added pitch, right? That's the aim. From the very all the steps you have to keep this in mind. So second step I talked about this technical outreach workflow refers to decision maker discovery, which means basically identification of the importers, right importers, who are likely to definitely convert. So once you extract genuine importing companies, source verified corporate email addresses of key procurement personnels, who can be procurement heads, they can be sourcing directors, or the owners, or managing director, or CEOs of the company. So large companies, they will not respond to you. That's why I'm telling you, unless you have got very good track record of already exporting, like this 100 case study example of 100 buyers. So after 25 buyers, they had already built the credibility. So the MDs and the CEOs of the large companies also started responding. So using the B2B contact intelligence tools uh, like Apollo AI, which is a paid version, or Ocean IO, or integrated rate platform scrapers, they are available, paid as well as free, or LinkedIn, very important, very useful. So all these platforms, you have to learn how to use it. In my subsequent masterclass, one by one, I will explain to you how to use these B2B contact intelligence tools. So you subscribe to this channel, and I will give you master classes on all these B2B contact intelligence tools one by one. So how to use it, right? Then third step we talked about was hyper personalized value add pitching. So it's very obvious, very easy to understand that we are going away from cold outreach to warm outreach. Email marketing in a correct way, basically. So never blast identical mass emails. Craft modular, customized, highly tailored emails referencing their specific import volume, market dynamics, and clear value propositions like rate optimization, testing certification, credit terms, or formulation parity. We also call these pitch as compliance ready pitch. Basically, you have to show that your compliance is very good, your traceability is very good. In many of the developed countries, traceability is very important. Compliance is the most important. Those things has to be shown. And sometimes you don't even give the pitch, direct pitch. Sometimes you start with a non-intrusive kind of message where you try to hit upon the pain points of the client. Instead of pitching your company directly, you start with that, so that to start some conversation. This is also very, very important sometimes. So basically, here another thing becomes very, very important. And why we are doing all these things is because of protecting our domain from getting blacklisted, getting into spam folders. So brand protection or domain protection is very, very important. So the rule for that is, do not send more than 30 to 50 cold emails per day per domain. So when I'm saying per domain, you should have some alternative domain also, secondary, tertiary domain. Try to avoid using primary domain. So you're trying to protect your main domain, right? So you should have 3, 4 domains, similar type of domains of your company. So you have to find out how you do it. So to maintain your inbox reputation, it is very, very important. If you are scaling volume, use secondary sending domains configured with separate mailboxes. For example, you can use tools like Google Workspace or dedicated business mailboxes. You can use that. Warmed up via automated warm-up tools. There are tools out there. Warm-up means basically they maintain a distance between the similar type of mails. So these are warm-up tools like uh, instantly.ai or Warmy. There are tools available. So in my subsequent masterclass, I will uh, explain to you how to use these tools. So that's why I'm telling you that you subscribe to this particular channel. You will be at a very great advantage. From my these master classes, you will learn all these things. So the fourth step I was talking about was the email deliverability, tracking and compliance. So tracking and compliance means you have to monitor your open rate of your emails. Again, tools are there. Reply rates, as well as link click through rates, CTR, right? You have to understand all these terms. So You have to do this kind of monitoring weekly or fortnightly, or depending on the case to case, monthly, to refine subject lines and hooks, right? Email hooks. So in present times, you have to learn all these things if you really want to export your goods. And also in this step 4, you have to check your domain reputation regularly on Google Post Master Tools. Their tools are available, right? How many companies have blacklisted you, or your mail has gone to spam folder? So Google Postmaster tools are there. In my later masterclass, I will explain to you how to use Google Postmaster tools also. Now, there are mandatory compliances also in this that has to be taken care of. Always include a clean, functional, unsubscribe link. Very, very important. If you want to avoid getting your domain or your emails in spam folder, unsubscribe link is very, very important. And your registered physical business address to comply with international spam regulations. Which are these regulations? Like CN spam or GDPR of EU, right? So you have to understand these spam regulations, which again I will explain to you in my subsequent masterclass. And thereby you prevent inbox service providers from penalizing your domain. If you are within the regulation, they cannot penalize. I will tell you in my later masterclass. I will explain to you how to make sure that you do not get penalized with for sending your outreach, right, by some weird recipient of the email in those companies. There can be people like that. So you have to protect your domain, right? So for today, I think this is quite heavy things that I have already explained in this masterclass, and I will not go for many things again in this masterclass, which I will leave it for subsequent masterclass. So you should subscribe to my channel, and in my later masterclass, I will explain these things one by one. So all these terms and your domain protection, your different tools, AI tools, your Google Analytics, all those things, email marketing in a right way, how to make a warm pitch, warm value added pitch, uh, all those things. How do you use B2B tools, platforms? All these things I will explain in subsequent masterclass. So in summary, I will give you a little bit of summary of what we have discussed in this masterclass. So the first thing that we learn from this masterclass is that the consistent, value-driven outreach backed by trade intelligence is what drives results in modern exports in current times. It takes discipline, domain protection, and systematic monitoring and follow-up and tracking to get the right results. So, in the comments of this particular masterclass, let us discuss questions like which markets or products are you currently targeting? Share. What is the biggest roadblocks you are facing when reaching out to foreign buyers? So, your question shouldn't be exactly on the things that I've already covered in this masterclass. So, you should write all these things after completely understanding what I have told you in this masterclass, and beyond that, you should ask. So, drop your questions below. I will answer as many as possible in our upcoming sessions, if possible, or on the comment section itself. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this lecture with whomever you wish, your colleagues, your professional friends. Share it. See you in the next class. Thank you for watching.